She sent her predator Big Cat to kill the human mechanic. Instead, he rode on its back. Beginning. The twin suns of Carios burned a pale orange light over Mechanic's yard. Grit from the desert plains always found its way into the gears, pistons and fusion couplings piled high in rusty stacks. Jack's Renner wiped sweat from his brow and tightened hydraulic lock on the hauler he was repairing. His hands, callous and scarred from years of work, moved with speed and certainty. He was good at his trade, too good, some whispered. The colony of Tarlin didn't like how often Jax's name came up when it came to salvaged alien tech. He wasn't born here, wasn't even from this system. Just a stray human mechanic, taken in for his skills, tolerated for his usefulness. And in a galaxy ruled by the Carian nobility, tall, feline-featured aliens with eyes like molten gold, humans were usually ignored or enslaved. But Jax wasn't ignored. He had something the others didn't. A knack for machines the Carians themselves barely understood. That made him valuable and dangerous. On the ridge above his yard, a pair of golden eyes narrowed. Lady Silvara leaned forward from her armored glide chariot, her cloak of iridescent feathers rippling in the desert wind. She was a noble of House Seraph, high among the predator families that dominated Carios. And she hated Jax. Not because he was human, not exactly, but because his reputation had grown so far. Some of her retainers had begun seeking him out instead of her own engineers. Worse, she had seen something in him, confidence, stubbornness, that felt too much like defiance. And defiance was intolerable. So she had brought her cat. The beast was called a Zerent, a predator bred on the blood-soaked hunting moons of the Carian Empire. Twice the height of a man at the shoulder, its fur shimmered with obsidian stripes. Its fangs were like ivory blades. Its claws could shear through armor plating. Its eyes, however, gleamed with intelligence. Silvara had raised it from a cub, bonding with it through blood rights. It was loyal only to her. She whispered to it now, a low growl in her native tongue. Kill him. The Zerent leapt from the ridge with a roar. Middle. Jax didn't hear it first. He was humming to himself, tightening a coil assembly. Then a shadow fell across him. He looked up, straight into a mouthful of teeth. Ah, help! Jax muttered. The beast lunged. Jax dove to the side, rolling under the hauler. The Zerent's claws raked sparks from the vehicle's hull. The ground shook under its weight. Not exactly subtle, are you? Jax said, scrambling to his feet. He grabbed the nearest tool, a plasma wrench. Not much use against a predator that could shrug off blaster fire, but it was better than nothing. The Zerent snarled, tail lashing. Then it charged again. Jax dodged barely. His instinct screamed to run, but he knew he couldn't outrun a predator designed to chase armored prey across battlefields. He needed another tactic. Something mechanical. Something clever. The Zerent pounced, claws extended. Jax braced himself. Then at the last second, swung the plasma wrench hard against one of the beast's leg joints. There was a sharp crack, not bone breaking, but of a hidden clasp snapping loose. The Zerent stumbled, surprised. Jax blinked. He had seen that mechanism before. Bioengineered exoskeletal braces, the kind nobles used to augment their war beasts. Which meant this thing wasn't just flesh and blood. It was part machine. A grin spread across Jax's face. Well now, that's something I can work with. The Zerent recovered, snarling. But when it lunged again, Jax didn't dodge. He leapt forward, twisting, and grabbed hold of its thick mane. The beast roared, thrashing, trying to shake him off. Jax clamped down tighter, searching along its armored spine with one hand. His fingers found it, a recessed control node, humming with energy. The Zerent froze for a moment, shuddering. Bingo! Jax muttered. He yanked a connector from his belt and jammed it into the port. Sparks flew. The beast roared again, but this time its movements faltered, became unsteady. Jax's wrist comm lit up as his improvised interface synced with the Zerent's cybernetic controls. A cascade of alien code scrolled across the tiny screen. Jax cursed under his breath. All right, big guy. Let's see if we can't come to an understanding. The Zerent bucked once, twice, but then slowed. Its breathing deepened. Its golden eyes blinked confused. Jax, still gripping its mane, whispered softly, Easy. I'm not your enemy. And to his astonishment, the beast listened. It lowered itself slightly, muscles trembling, but no longer trying to throw him off. Jax eased into a sitting position on its back. When Lady Silvara crested the ridge again, expecting to see blood, her eyes widened. The human sat astride her predator, calm as a rider on a horse. The Zerent, her beast or killer, stood still beneath him, obedient. "What trick is this?" she hissed. "No trick," Jax called back. "Just mechanics. You build an animal like a machine, it's going to behave like one when it meets the right mechanic." Silvara's hands clenched on her reins. Rage twisted her elegant face. "Dismount. Now, or I'll have my soldiers cut you down." Jax stroked Azerantha's neck. It rumbled softly, a sound like a giant purr. The soldiers who had come with her hesitated, uncertain. No one in living memory had ever ridden Azaranth, but its master. "Funny thing," Jax said, "your cat seems to like me better." The turning point. The standoff couldn't last. Silvara barked an order, and her soldiers raised their rifles. Jax's gut tightened. He might have bonded with the beast, but he wasn't bulletproof. Before the first shot was fired, however, the Zaranth moved. It leapt between Jax and the soldiers, a wall of muscle and claws. Its growl shook the ground. The soldiers faltered. No one dared fire at their lady's prize predator. Silvara's eyes blazed with fury and disbelief. "You dare steal what is mine," she shouted. "I didn't steal anything," Jax said. "Your beast made its own choice." The Zaranth turned its head slightly, meeting Silvara's gaze. For the first time, it did not bow or kneel. It simply stood, waiting, loyal, but no longer to her. That was the crack that broke the wall. Word spread fast across Tarlin. A human mechanic had tamed the Zaranth with nothing but his wits and his tools. To some, it was a miracle. To others, blasphemy. And to Silvara, it was the deepest humiliation. She vowed revenge. But Jax had gained more than a weapon that day. He had gained an ally. Middle expansion, the bond. Over the weeks that followed, Jax and the Zaranth grew closer. He named it Bront, after an old Earth legend of thunder beasts. Bront seemed to like the name. Jax studied the creature's hybrid systems, learning how its biocybernetics worked. Bront's exoskeletal braces weren't just for power. They linked its nervous system to a control framework that could be overridden by anyone skilled enough to interface. That had been Silvara's mistake. Arrogance in assuming no one else could. But Jax didn't just use the controls. He disabled half of them, letting Bront's natural instincts take precedence. He treated the beast not as a tool, but as a partner. And Bront responded with a loyalty Jax had never known. Together, they roamed the desert plains, repairing stranded vehicles, fending off raiders. Colonists who had once looked at Jax with suspicion now greeted him with awe. Children ran to the fence lines to watch the human ride past on the back of the great black-striped predator. Of course, Silvara seethed. She could not allow her honor to be stained. In the Carrion courts, whispers grew. If a human could tame a Zaranth, what else might he do? Her rivals taunted her. Her allies doubted her. So she plotted. The final confrontation. It happened under the light of the twin moons. Jax was returning from a repair run, Bront padding silently beneath him, when the ambush struck. Dozens of armed riders, their mounts smaller but swifter than Bront, closed in. At their head rode Silvara, her feather cloak blazing in the moonlight. "Your stolen prize ends tonight," she cried. The riders charged. Bront roared, shaking the dunes. Jax tightened his grip, guiding the beast into a sprint. They collided with the attackers like a thunderstorm, Bront's claws scattering riders like rag dolls. Jax ducked and swung his plasma wrench, knocking aside weapons aimed at Bront. The battle was chaos. Sand, steel, blood. But through it all, Jax and Bront moved as one. The bond between them was no longer mechanical. It was trust. At last, Silvara herself confronted them. She leapt from her glide chariot, drawing a curved blade that shimmered with energy. Bront crouched, ready to pounce, but Jax held him back. "This is between us," Jax said. Silvara snarled and attacked. Her strikes were fast, inhumanly so. Jax barely parried with his wrench, sparks flying. She was stronger, faster, but he was clever. Each blow she struck, he angled into Bront's exoskeletal armor plating, using his mount as a shield without truly endangering him. Finally, when she overextended, Jax twisted, disarmed her, and leveled the plasma wrench at her throat. The battlefield went silent. Silvara trembled with rage and humiliation. Her soldiers stared, awaiting her command. But the command never came. She spat at Jax's feet, then turned and stalked away. Ending. From that night forward, Jax and Bront became legends. A human and a Zaranth, bonded not by blood rights or control nodes, but by choice. The colonies whispered to them as protectors. The nobles cursed them as symbols of rebellion. And across Carios, more and more began to wonder, if a human could ride the deadliest predator of the Empire, what else might be possible? For Jax, the answer was simple. He patted Brant's mane as they gazed across the desert. We're not done yet, big guy. Not by a long shot. Brant rumbled in agreement, and together they rode into the horizon, not as master and beast, but as partners ready to defy an empire